Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny. Fruit markets apps inside. Today we need to starting this here the database designs. We need to creating here the data structures. We need to develop here as well as we need to develop this here the data tables. Inside we need to creating here the needed columns. We need to as per designs we need to making here. Today we need to make this here the user detail tables, address detail tables, main category tables, and details tables need to develop here. First of all, we need to see here the this portions we need to cover here for the this screens of this mobile number related, and this is the address user informations we need to needs, and also need to cover this here the this category. And this is the main category, and inside here the subcategory for this UI, and also need to here the show here the per kg. Like this, you need to manage this here the inside here the database. We need to need this here. First of all, now making here the needed tables we need to put here. Now we need to already here the creates here the database, and we need to set this here the fruit markets apps. We need to give this here the database name like here. And first tables we need to develop this here the user detail tables, and we need to inside we need to need this here the 13 to 15 columns we need to need here. We need to create here the user detail tables like here. So we need to set here, and now need to set here the 15 columns we need to create here. And I need to give this here the auto increments and primary increment to set, and to give this here the user underscore id. We need to set this here the table names, and we need to set here. Then after we need to give this here the needs here the usernames. We need to give this here the where cares, and we need to set here the hundreds for the locations. We need to set here the blank. Need to set here. Then after the mobile code numbers, we need to needs here the columns, and we need to set here the where cares, and we need to give this here the pi, and we need to set this here the by default Indian numbers. We need to set this here the Indian codes 91. Like we need to set here plus 91. So we need to set here configurations, and then after so we need to set here the mobile, and inside we need to put this here the mobile numbers now need to 25. We need to set this here the 15s, and we need to set here the blank. Then after needs here the email address, need to optionals not required here. So need to set this here the 15s and blank value. And then after we need to need this here the user which you OS inside the login. So need to last time. So need to configures and updates here for this data. For we need to need this here. Now need to set here the where cares, and we need to set this here the 10. And by default need to give this here the I means here the iOS, and to set here the comments. I means here the iOS, A means here the Androids here, Android, like here's Android. Need to set here for these types. And then after need to sending here the push. That's why I need to need this here the push tokens. Also need to save this here the device push tokens. Need to put here the column names push tokens, where cares, and we need to set this here the hundreds. And we need to use this here the one signal push notifications use here. That's why I need to need this here the 26. We need to needs here the columns needs here 26. Now we need to set here the authentication tokens. We need to access tokens like this told here. We need to give this here the auth tokens, and we need to set here the where cars, and to configure this here the 100, and by default blank we need to configure. Then after so we need to create here the OTP codes. We need to generating first time verifications. We need to need this here the OTP codes. We need to write down here the where cares, and to give this here the 6-digit codes. We need to develop here, and by default we need to set here the 000. 6 times we need to put this here the default codes, and then after we need to set here the user type like here's, and we need to create here the two, and by default we need to create here the your type is equal to once means end users. We need to order pressings for the fruits users user apps. Then after we need to delivery boy for we need to delivery boy apps like here's, and third one is the shop owners. We need to means admins shop owners owner, like we need to means here the admins shop owner admin. Like we need to configurations for this data. We need to set here, and then after we need to set here the status column, and we need to set here the one. By default, we need to once means actives. We need to comments inside. If here the zero means here the block this users. Once means here the active, and two means delete, like here. Then after created date, create underscore date, and we need to set here the date time, and we need to set here the current date times. Same as modify date and date time, current timestamps, and these tables are the creatings are the dones. Here the common things. First of all, you need to unique identity ID. Then after status, created dates, modify, always need the all tables need to this for column always needs here. And now we need to save these tables and to creating here the these tables here. Now we need to go here the fruit markets and to create here the another tables for the management here the address. Needs here the address related configurations. Need to create here the user ID. Need to connect with here and specific address we need to set here. Here possible to way here the multiples address we need to availables maybe in other user can place the other user for the placing orders for this app. That's why I need to give this here the multiple address we need to access we need to providing here. Now then to create here the new tables we need to develop here and we need to creating for the table structures inside. Now we need to go here and we need to write down here the tables names. We need to create here the address detail tables and we need this here the columns. Maybe we need to 10 and now need to create tables. First ones need to create here the address ID. Need to like this write down here and primary key also need to auto increment need to set here, and then after need to set here the configures which user this address need to allocate. That's why I need to give this here the user ID we need to provide here, and by default need to set this here the 0. Then after address identifications we need this here the give this here the status name. That's why I need to give this here the name property. Set here the workers and to set this here the 50 like here the home office and others like need to whatever user can give we need to show here the as titles. Now need to set here the blank. Then after so need to write down here the user here the full address for this column. So need to write down here the varchars and 20 215. So need to give this allocate this space. Then after so need to set this here the city and set here the varchars and two configurations are the needs here for the 50 for city names. So need to put here and also need this here the zip code underscore code varchars and we need to set this here the 10 and like this blank. Maybe you need to set here 15 some maybe inside me too big, that's why I need to putting here. Then after so need to set this here the latitudes and longitudes. So need this here the lati and longitudes longit like years and we need to set here the varchars and 25. We need to set allocation this here the space by default. We need to set here the defines 0.0 point 0 like we need to default address we need to set here 0.0 point 0 as 25 like here so need two configurations. Then after so need to one flag so need to put this here is default address like this. We need two configurations for the users default and set here one by default 0 means here the not default not and once means here the yes like yes no yes like. Then after we need to set here the commons status and set here one by default. We need to set here the one. Once means here the active, two means here the deleted, and another two columns need to put here. So need to created dates and modify date, date time, and current timestamp. Same as current timestamp, date time, and we need to give this here the column names, modify date. Like this is the user detail tables we need to configure and we need to save here. And this is the tables are the creatings and another tables we need to develop for here. First we need to given this here the main category like here the fruits, vegetables and dry foods like this here the main category we need to define here. So like if you in futures need to increase this here the tabs, that's why need to creating here the temporary tables need to develop here is good. If you increase here the main category tabs, that is the goods way need to appropriate and setting here. Now need to create here the main category tables like we need to configure here the main category and we need to need this here the column as a pie and we need to save this here. First of all, we need to give this here the main cat ID. Need to assign here for these tables for the auto increment and with primary key. Need to assign. Then after main category name, we need to set like this here the name property and we need to set this here the varchar 40 and by default blank like this we need to configurations. Then after status, created date, modified date, set here the date time for the data types as a created dates and modified dates. Need to give date times and default value current timestamps need to put here and we need to define as a one and set here maybe give this here the zero means inactive like here's once means active and two means deleted like we need to creating here the main categories we need to creating here and we need to save these years. And now another tables need to develop these years subcategory means here the category tables need to allocate years. Now need to create here the another tables need to give this here the category details and we need this here the columns as a 7 need to create here. Now we need to give this here the name cat id cat underscore id for this column names create here the auto increments and primary key need to assign here. Then after need to set this here the columns names we need to configure this here the cat name for the category name where cares and we need to by default blank this here the blank value and we need to give this here the value as a 15 for this category. Then after we need to connection tables with here the main category which category inside this which main category inside we need to creating this subcategory means here the category need to assign here main cat underscore id like we need to set this here the name and we need to create by default here the zero like we need to creating here and we need to give this here the pi maximums need to 4 digit is enough for this category declarations maybe 3 is good not more than category availables, that's why I need to give this here. And categories inside we need to give this here the showing here the this home screens need to open this here the hd files is good way and we need to give this here the subtitles need to showing ports need to use this here the subtitles columns need to put here subtitles where cares and to give this here the 100 blank value like defines here. Then after commons status created date and modified dates created dates and modified date call data types need to set this here the date times and current timestamps need to configure for this ui like here and we need to steps we need to set this here the 0 and we need to set here the 0 here inactive active and two means here the deleted like here so need to configurations for this ui. And now this is the category details we need tables we need to set here and to configures now need to save here and created these tables here. And another today last tables need to develop this here the unit tables inside we need to all describe here the needed units need to put inside these tables and to configures with here the items need to edits with category subcategory into assignings and as well as need to configures unit to units tables are the most important part and this unit table base going to defines here the price mostly it is this app inside need to use this here the base as a use here the kg need to always need to use here but we need to sometime maybe grams inside available some fruits. That's why need to different packages steps. That's why need to creating here the unit tables. We need to need here. In futures maybe possible to increase, and some products are the low amounts but big price. That's why need to small parts inside the converts. That's why need to selling inside the grams. That's why I need to creating here the unit tables. Need to needs for this shop. Now we need to give this here the table name unit detail, and we need to assign this here the columns. We need to needs here the 5 columns and create here. First we need to give this here the unit ID, and we need to set assign here the primary key. Then after unit name, unit underscore name like here, and we need to give this here the varchars, and we need to set here the 50. Maybe you need to set this here the 30 is enough, maybe 25 is enough, and we need to set here the blank. Then after you need to give this here the unit value. This is the most important parts. If you need to convert specific units, that's why I need to unit value need to given this inside. We need to smallest units need to assign, otherwise need to biggest unit need to assign. Between units we need to make here the mistake. That's why I need to given this here the unit value. If you depends here the kilograms, then to save this unit value inside the grams, how many unit for this value need to save inside the grams. That's why I need to defining this here the unit value varchars, and to declare this here the 100 grams per kilometers. Like we need to set here the kg, and this value need to given this years. Then after we need to set this here the status, set here 1, and need to declare this here the 0, means here the inactive, not showing websites. Two wrong columns need to rack here 0 inactive, once means active, and created dates, date times, and crunch time. One column adds and modify dates, date time, and we need to set here the current timestamps. And now need to save this years, and to give this here the valid length for unit. I need to set this here the 20 is good, not 20. You need to need this here the 10 is enough, and to save this years and set this here the these tables are. And tomorrow need to creating here the stores inside here the fruit inside the database tables, and to also manage this here the category and sub more than category. You need to how to save inside the tables tactile structures. You need to develop here, as well as to manage things here the this product price need to manage here. If you like this video, please give the thumbs up. If you're a new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any question, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.